A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Zakira Shyrose, and you are watching Understanding Islam right here on Hidayat TV. I'm here every Friday from 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Toronto time. It's a 1-hour program, so from 6 to 7 UK time, and 1 to 2 p.m. on EST, Eastern Standard Time. I'd like to welcome you all to this English program on Hidayat TV, and we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity to have these kinds of programs on channels like Hidayat TV. And today we commemorate the life of a very prolific Imam, an Imam who managed to do a lot under very difficult circumstances. He spent most of his life in prison. This is the 7th Imam, Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, and we commemorate his shahadat today as well. Tonight in many cities it will be also Miraj upon sighting of the moon. As soon as Maghrib comes, we will have Miraj. So these are very blessed nights and days of Rajab indeed. And it is very important for us, in addition to all the ibadat that we're doing, the fasting and the extra amal that we're doing, that we also learn and we also increase our knowledge, enhance our knowledge, especially when it comes to the lives of the Imams, so that we can walk in their footsteps, so that there is ma'rifah, there is understanding about who they are. When we remember them, when we ask for their wasila, especially, that we know exactly who we're asking from. The 7th Imam, Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, is also known as Babul Hawaij, the door to desires and du'as. There is in fact an actual door at his shrine, where the door of Babul Hawaij, and he is known as this door, the gateway to fulfillment of hajat. So it's so important to understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him this status, and why are we asking an Imam to intercede for us. What was so special about him? Today we send condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Zamana Ajalallahu ta'ala farajahum sharif. Imam Zamana is our living Imam who grieves on these types of days when we commemorate the shahadat of our Imams, and we send him our condolences, and we look to him to return very, very soon, Ilahi Ameen, so that he can take the revenge for the killing, the martyrdom of such innocent lives and such pious beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent on this earth. These were the ayatullah, the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the tyrants of the time took them from us and brutally killed them. In the example of the 7th Imam, Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, his life was not only spent in prison. The last 19 years of his life were in prison. In fact, he was not found again. People did not know where he was, and basically when he was martyred, it was in a very brutal way by poisoning, and his body, his blessed body, was left on a bridge in Kadhimain and in Baghdad for 3 days on a bridge, and no one had the courage to claim his body, because this was a sign to the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, that whoever loves these Imams, this is what will happen to them as well. We've killed your Imam, and come and show us, dare show us that you are one of those lovers of this Imam. And no one had the courage to come forward. Baghdad is a city that has always had a very brutal and bloodied history. And in our narrations, we are told not to spend a night in Baghdad, because the blood of the martyrs has been used to basically paint the city. The walls of the city of Baghdad are filled with the bodies of martyrs. And this is something that the tyrants of the time did to show the people that this is how we value you. You have no life. You have no power. We'll kill you, and we'll use you to fill our walls, to build our city with your blood. So we definitely call out to the Imam of our time, Imam Zain Zamana Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahum Sharif, to help us, because the world is becoming corrupt again, but there is still so much that has to be avenged of the past as well. These are very heartbreaking days of Shahadat, and when you see the images from Kadmain, where thousands and thousands of people, practically millions of people, come down to Kadmain to commemorate the life of the seventh Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam. And when you see this, you realize he was not a small, valueless, na'udhu billah, human being. He was a force to be reckoned with, that even 1440 years later, his name is synonymous with piety and with the Ahlul Bayt, the name of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and his name is synonymous with a great leader, a great Imam. People look up to him as the Babul Hawaij, the person to call out to for our du'as to be fulfilled. So what is it about this Imam? Why is he so powerful? And when he 1440 years ago was left to just to lay there for 3 days on that bridge, did anyone know that 1400 years later the people would call out his name, and the entire city will be named after him, and that people will come from far and wide, travel from all over the world just to visit his shrine? And he has an entire army. Those of us who have witnessed the changing of the guards who dress up in the costume, the uniform of the guards of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. And so he has his entire army. And let us not forget, seventh Imam is the father of the two most famous personalities in Islam, Imam Ali Rida alayhi salam and Bibi Masumikum alayhi salam, a female who was such an ascetic. She was such a religious, pious lady and knowledgeable one, that she is a lady whose shrine people travel to from all over the world. And she is also given this power of intercession, and she is known as the Lady of Miracles and Karamat. And people go there especially to have their hajat fulfilled. Imam Rida alayhi salam, the Shahir Khurasan, is the son of the seventh Imam. So very, very knowledgeable and pious children. But Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam did not just have these two children, by the way. He had, history tells us, about 37 children. Mostly they were more females than males, in terms of, like, he had more sons than daughters. He had more daughters than sons. And mashallah, truly an Imam who left a progeny, a legacy. And let's not also forget, he's the son of the sixth Imam. Sixth Imam, very well known for his knowledge, the one who set all the universities in Medina, and known for his knowledge and piety. And the most hadith were written by, are narrated by the sixth Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. And what is interesting is that, being the son of the sixth Imam, who was teaching people from far and wide. People came from Greece, people came from Rome, from Azerbaijan. They came from all over the world. The sixth Imam was teaching non-Muslims. He was teaching non-Muslims, and they were taking this knowledge with them. That Islamic Renaissance we hear about, where all these massive, major discoveries were made by scientists, were because of the teachings of the sixth Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. But what is very, very sad is that the seventh Imam, the son of the sixth Imam, Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, who we're remembering today, was never given an opportunity to address a massive congregation. He was never allowed to preach openly. This is the sad, heartbreaking thing that we hear about the seventh Imam, that he was, if when you look at the test of the seventh Imam, when we look at him, we would think that he would be filled with rage. He would be completely angry at the fact that he was being held back. He was not able to preach freely. He was imprisoned, and that is why he is also someone that we really talk about as the one who his name, his virtue was Al-Qadim, the person who held back his anger. That is his name, his laqab. So a person who would have so much rage, who's being held back, who's not allowed to preach freely, who's imprisoned, taken away from his family. He was in Medina. They take him all the way to Baghdad and keep him imprisoned. No one ever hears back from him again. And his son, the eighth Imam, had to fill in while his father was alive, and the family didn't get time with their father. Bibi Masum alayha salam, famously we know about her that she was crying. She was only 6 years old when her father was taken away, and she would cry. She would sit at the door of the house and cry for her father, and he never came back. And after that, when Imam Rida alayhi salam was taken by the same family, Harun Rashid was the evil one who had the seventh Imam imprisoned, and his son Mamun imprisoned the eighth Imam, Imam Rida alayhi salam. So the father and son were enemies of this father and son. And when Bibi Masum alayha salam saw her father being taken, she cried for him. And then when she saw her brother, the eighth Imam, being taken, she cried in the same way, because she said, "You'll never come back either. I've lost another father now," because the eighth Imam was very much like her father, and they were historically brother and sister whose bond is still talked about throughout the years, a bond like the bond of Imam Hussein and Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. So this is a very tragic story, a very heartbreaking story, the seventh Imam's life. And let's look at it in a little bit of detail so that we can learn something and inshallah be inspired and inshallah walk in the footsteps of this great Imam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extols the virtues of those who are the doers of good, those who are the muhsinin, those who do ihsan on the people. And there's this ayah of the Holy Quran which talks about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the muhsinin. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin. It ends with this particular ayah. And this is from Surah 3, ayah 134, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises those people who are the muhsinin, who do ihsan on others. What are their qualities? These people who do ihsan, who are the muhsinin. The name muhsin comes from the person who does ihsan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alladhina yunfikuna fis sarra'i wal dharra'i wa kadhamina al-ghayza wa afina 'anil nas wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin. Such a beautiful praise of people and such an example of what we need to be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises those who spend benevolently. These are the people who do charity. And how do they do this charity? They give charity in their good times as well as in their difficult times. Those who spend benevolently in ease as well as in straightness. So it shows us that whenever we are asked to give, we say, "I wish I had good times." It's really bad times. I mean, we have barely enough for ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises those who give regardless of what their own situation is. They're consistent. Of course, inshallah, when Allah gives us more, we give according to that we have more now. But even when we have little, we can definitely give a little portion. And it's going to hurt a little bit so that it really feels like we have given. When it's easy to give, then it's not really, it's charity, but it's, no pain, no gain kind of thing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses those people and praises them who spend in ease as well as in straightness. And then here comes the classic, beautiful explanation of those who do ihsan. What do they do? So, alladhina yunfikuna fi sarra'i wa dharra'i, in good, in ease and in straightness, when they have difficult, tough times, when money is less. Wal kadhamina al ghayza. What do? They hold back their anger. Wa kadhamina al ghayza wal afina anan nas. And what do? They forgive the people. Now, these two things are perhaps the hardest things anyone can ever ask of us. Hold back your anger. Don't take it out. Don't express how much somebody has bothered you. And number two, don't forgive this person. I mean, this person has hurt you badly. These are the two things that, break relationships forever, right? We're angry, we say terrible things, and then we say, I'll never forgive you. You're dead for me. So these two things are actually the bane of our existence, the root of all evil. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises these people who are doing the hardest things possible. They're giving charity in good times and in difficult times. They're holding back their anger when someone's really upsetting them. And in addition to holding back their anger, what do? They forgive this person. And then Allah gives this beautiful gift at the end. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin. And definitely, surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the doers of ihsan, loves the doers of good to others. So with this ayah, وَالْقَاذِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, we see this word قَاذِمِينَ الْغَيْظ. This is the laqab of Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, the one who held back his anger. Allahu Akbar. If only we could get this today from our Imam. Ya Imam, today as we commemorate your shahadat, and we dress in black, and we come to the mosque, and we cry, and we come to the shrine, and we beg you to help us, you will smile upon us, won't you, if we walk in your footsteps, if we hold back our anger, and we take a vow today that we're not going to get angry. This is an ongoing issue for all of us. The best of us blow. The best of us reach this point that we say terrible things, that we don't talk to people. And remember, this is why our religion tells us that 3 days cannot go by. 3 days when a mu'min does not talk to a mu'min. We pride ourselves on being a mu'min, a believer. But what do? We cannot hold back our anger. We shout at people, we express anger, we talk about them when they're not around. And all of us are victims to this. Our nafs is very, very, very weak when it comes to holding back the anger. Absolutely. We're a mess. We get angry and then we say, from this point on, I'm not talking to this person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what we're really doing. We can be civil. We can say, well, I say hello. Yeah, we see each other, we say hi. But in the heart is this anger that we're not on speaking terms. I hate this person. So being civil, alhamdulillah, is a good effort. But inside in your heart, when you are saying, I'm not talking to this person, Allah knows that. And a mu'min cannot do that. 3 days cannot go by angry with someone. And this is why these kinds of narrations are there. Otherwise, we would go on and on and on and on. I remember there was one person in my life who had hurt me a lot. This happened, I would say, a good 25 years ago. And, I definitely had every reason to be hurt by this person. There's no doubt that they had done terrible things to me. But I was civil to them. I used to say hello to them. I used to smile at them. But in my heart was this pain. And I was in a majlis and I heard this hadith that I've heard a million times, that the 3 days should not go by when you do not speak to a mu'min. a fellow mu'min. And when I heard this, it really touched me. And that's why it's so important to come back to the Holy Quran again and again, and to the narrations, the hadith again and again. Because depending on what point you are in your life, these things can suddenly take on a new meaning and have more power. Something you've heard a million times, but when you hear it at the right time in your life, can really hit you right there. And so when I heard this, and I was much younger, of course, I felt very touched by this, and I said, I can't let this go on. And in my heart, I really said, I, from now on, will speak to this person. I'm going to seek them out, and I'm going to make an extra effort to be even nicer to them. And mind you, I was remembering them in my namaz-e-shab, in my salatul layl. I still remember them in my salatul layl. And so I had been making an effort to forgive this person. I had been asking for forgiveness for them in my salatul layl. But that talking and that mixing was not happening. Civility was there, but it was absolute pain in my heart. And so I made that conscious decision that I'm going to seek them out, and I'm going to talk to them. And believe me, within those 3 days, after making that vow, I can still picture this. I saw this individual at the mosque, and no one was there. The mosque had kind of emptied out, and we were alone. And I hugged them, I spoke to them, I asked them how they were. I really became friendly with them. And this was not fake. This was true. This was real. And I felt so good that, alhamdulillah, it's over. Allah has given me this leeway. He has given me this way out, that it's not for you to decide whether to forgive this person or not. Allah wants you to forgive. And so it's not about your ego at all. Allah loves those who forgive. And this is the ihsan that you do. And you know what? This person died just a few days later. And it was a young person. They unexpectedly got an illness and died within probably 2-3 days after we had met. And believe me, the relief I had that I had forgiven them. Because honestly, when bad things happen to good people, people pass away, people get sick, no matter how upset we may be at them, our heart feels bad for them. We pray for their shifa. We come to their funerals. We regret their loss. We're all good people. We all good people underneath. Yes, we get angry a little bit, but if something happened to this person, we would be the first people who would cry. And Allah gave me that relief, that wouldn't have to carry this burden my entire life, that I had been angry at this person, and I never got to smooth things over with them. And so this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving us opportunities in our lives. And the shahadat of the 7th Imam is right now in our existence. We are alive to experience it, right? There's some people who have passed away. They're not able to experience this shahadat. We're here. And what is Imam saying to us? He's saying to us, walk in my footsteps. Be what I am. Be known for the person who held back their anger. We know many angry people in our lives, don't we? People who, you're afraid to trigger them because they're going to yell at you. They're going to shout. They're going to say terrible things, and they're going to say stuff that's really going to, upset. They're gonna swear. They're gonna say terrible things. Later on, these are the same people who are gonna say sorry. But we know that, they're gonna blow. Don't touch this person. They're gonna blow. Do we want to be known as those people? Do we want to be known as those tough people who never forgive? People that say, oh, this person, they'll never say sorry. This person, no, they're never going to reconcile. And in my life as a preacher, I cannot tell you how many times I've been taken to people's houses to reconcile families. How many times I have, had long discussions with people to forgive a brother, to forgive a sister, to forgive a mother, to forgive a fellow friend, and a fellow community member. And, they're so tough that people will warn me that, they're not the kind of person who forgives. So we are known by these qualities. The angry person, the person who never forgives, the person who has a long list of broken relationships, a person who's known for their tough stance, Do we want to be known as those people, or do we want to be known as the gentle soul? The person who forgives the people who have hurt them the most. The person who has left everything in Allah's hands. The person who has walked away and decided, I don't want this to be a fight. Who has felt hurt, but it's like, what will I gain by fighting with this person? They're saying to themselves, what will I gain? Allah, I leave this in your hands. Give me sabr. Let me be able to handle this. Give me the strength to get through this. And that's when our du'as take a different power indeed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who do jihad. The biggest jihad is the jihadun nafs. This nafs that wants us to blow, to get angry, to hold grudges. But when the soul says, no, I'm going to put a big heavy stone on my heart. And we have this in Urdu, we say, dil pe patthar rakke, right? Keep a big stone on my heart and not going to be angry at this person. I'm not going to hate them. I'm not going to take revenge. And when we do that, Allah is watching. Allah is watching. That person might not realize, right? That person might not realize how much we're holding back. And often we want to tell people, do you know how much I want to be angry at you? Do you know how I feel like beating you? I'm hitting you, never talking to you again? But even if you can stop that and not say that at all, watch how Allah will in return give you something else. This is how Allah works. That you do something for my pleasure, watch how I will make everything in your life fall into place. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, wa Muhammad, talks about this. There's a hadith, he says, the strong person. And this hadith happened when he was watching two people do wrestling. Like imagine the most strongest people, the jujitsu kind of martial arts kind of thing, throwing somebody on the ground, holding them down, really taking over an opponent, a strong opponent, and throwing them on the ground, carrying this heavy person, right? And so everybody was watching and being really impressed by the strength of these two opponents. And the Prophet ﷺ watched, and then he said, but do you know what is a truly strong person? They all wanted to know the strongest person. Who is that? Stronger than these two? And he said, the strong person is not he who throws his adversaries to the ground, but rather the one who restrains himself when he is angry. And I've seen people who have held themselves back when they're angry. And I remember just recently, someone had been kind of rude to me. So I was telling my mother, I said to her, I felt so embarrassed. I was treated so badly by this person, but I held back. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be the bad guy. I didn't want to, I respect this person. But they were rude to me in front of people and I felt so hurt. And, everybody must have thought I'm such a loser, such a zero, that I let this person treat me like this. My mother said something beautiful. She said, no, in the eyes of all the people who watch this, you are the better person. They were looking at you in awe and saying, wow, she's a grown woman. She's powerful. She could have easily said something really bad and rude and mean, but she held back. And she is the better person here. They respected you more when they saw you. You did not go against this person. You did not say anything bad, not behind their back, not in front of them. And when I heard that, I said, wow, even though something that's such a common thing that I would say to someone else, but when someone said it to me, I was, and someone that I care about said this to me, my mother, whose opinion matters so much to me, I said, subhanAllah, it's true. I'm the better person for keeping quiet. I'm the better person for not retaliating. And so the strong person is not the one who throws their adversary to the ground. The strong one is the one who restrains himself when he's angry. Like Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, alladhina yunfikuna fis sarra'i wal dharra'i wal kadhimina al-ghayza wal afina anan nas. They forgive also. They say, it's okay, this person, had this issue. What does a mu'min do? A mu'min gives a fellow mu'min 72 reasons benefits of doubt. What is a benefit of doubt? Where you say, you know what? I'm going to doubt what I thought about this person. What did I think? They're mean, they're rude, they're selfish, they're hurtful, they don't like me, they're out to get me. We can think of a million reasons why someone is a bad person. Now, if you can put doubts in all those things that you said, if you took those 72 things that you hate about somebody, and you can, completely say they're this, and this, negative stuff, and then turn them into doubts. Maybe they're not mean. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're not selfish. Maybe they didn't realize what they were doing. Maybe they were trying to help me. They weren't out to get me. So you're putting doubts, 72 doubts, and giving them the benefit of that doubt. Subhanallah. This is hadith, that a believer gives a fellow believer 72 benefits of doubt. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, give a friend 100 reasons. Multiple reasons to become your friend. And do not give them any reason to become your enemy. Do as much as you can to win that person over. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watches this. He knows how much we have tried. He knows, that person has no idea how much you went through to get that gift to that person, or flowers, or the phone calls of please forgive me, the messages, how much it takes to say sorry to someone. It takes a big person to be, to humble themselves. It means that the relationship is more important to you than your own ego, right? But when the person who's hearing you does not feel a softening of the heart, you realize that it takes a huge person to also forgive. Subhanallah. I've had such moments where I've had sorry to people. Hey, we all make mistakes, and I've met a couple of people who, no matter what you said, would not accept your apology. And I remember, doing my best, everything possible, and at the end of it, I thought to myself, I thanked Allah. I said, thank you, Allah, for not making me like this person. If someone had begged me like this, I would have melted in the first sentence. But this person, no matter what I say, no matter how much I cry, no matter how many flowers and gifts I send them, no matter how much I beg, how much I get other people to ask for forgiveness on my behalf, etc., they just don't melt. And sometimes it's a very trivial thing that they're angry about. Like, you haven't killed them, right? You haven't murdered anything. You haven't stolen from them. You might have said something, or you might have ignored them at a gathering, didn't say salam, or you didn't seek them out, didn't give them honor. Little things like that can really hurt us badly, right? But then we take it so high. We make it so hard. And then we act so angry that now it's embarrassing to say, okay, I forgive you. Because we've acted so angry. We were like, I look foolish if I suddenly, forgive this person now when I was acting so angry. We've made it hard for ourselves to even forgive someone. Let's thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are those who forgive. Those who not only hold back our anger, inshallah, there are such people. You'll hear they'll say, oh, my husband, he'll never be angry. Wow, imagine having such a husband. They say it takes a lot to trigger that person. Oh, they'll never be angry. They might be upset, but they'll never swear. They'll never throw things. They'll never hit anybody. They're never going to bang doors or walk out in anger. Wow. Imagine if we could be talked about like this. That they say, that person, I can't even imagine them angry. I've never seen them angry. Sometimes people say this about us. They say, I can't imagine you would ever be angry. Thank Allah at that time that Allah has given us this demeanor that people even think that we are really wonderful people. This is why Imam Ali alayhi salam has taught us that when somebody praises you, immediately thank Allah. You know what we say? We go, come on, I'm not like this. No, I'm not. We downplay their compliment. Imam Ali alayhi salam has taught us to be gracious. Say, thank you for thinking this about me. Thank you. And I pray that Allah makes me exactly like you have made me in your eyes. May Allah make me exactly as you say I am. Beautiful way to accept the compliment. And Imam Ali has this dua that he says, Ya Allah, don't hold me responsible for the good things this person says about me. I didn't make them say it. They're praising me. They're saying I'm wonderful. They're saying I can never be angry. They're saying I'm the most this, and this. Of course, Mullah Ali definitely was those things that people said about him. But for us, the common people praise us and we're nothing like what people say about us, right? They don't know the real us. They don't know how flawed we are, how human we are, how terrible we are. If people knew what we really are, no one would want to be near us. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's the Sattarul Ayyub, who hides our flaws. But to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, thank you for at least giving people this image that I'm wonderful. Making them think I'm the best. Now don't hold me responsible because I didn't fool them. I didn't make them say this. They thought this wonderful stuff about me. But now Allah, can you make it real? Can you make it true that what they said about me is really what I am? Make me exactly what they've said. So Imam Ali alayhi salam has given us a beautiful way to aspire to be the best that we can be. So anger is definitely something that imbalances us. It makes us be resentful. It makes us hate people, and a little bit of anger definitely is important. But that's so that we can fight for haqq. That's so that we can be good. Suppressing anger should sometimes can make you feel bottled up, and that's not the way to do it. The true suppression of anger is to forgive and then to not let it simmer. You're like, you know what? I've forgiven this person. It doesn't bother me anymore. Because we don't want our hearts to get hardened. We don't want to be so bottled up that we get triggered. And remember, anger definitely is haram. Because what does it do? It allows a jinn to enter us. The sixth Imam talks about this, that anger, he says that there's a hadith of the sixth Imam, that when you see somebody angry, see how their eyes get red, their veins protrude out of fury, their veins are, like pulsating. And an Imam says, Satan enters into him. Shaitan, curse be upon him, mal'oon, he looks for these opportunities, these cracks in our armor to enter us. And then when he enters us, we become completely possessed. And to be like Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, he was known as the Abd Saleh, the true slave of Allah. Kadhim, the one who held the anger, and Babul Hawaids, the gateway of fulfillment of needs. And history shows us that every tyrant who imprisoned him, everyone who's in charge, they used the most cruelest soldiers to keep Imam, to hold him back. Those soldiers, those tyrants would come to the king of the time and say, why have you kept us in charge of such a gentle man? He doesn't even speak loudly. We don't see him doing anything evil. He's always in sajda. He's always praying. What's so evil about this person? And historically, every single person who was in charge of taking care of him as a hostage, whether it was from taking him from Medina to Baghdad, a long, long, long journey indeed, they began to pray behind Imam. These people who had whips in their hands, who began cruelly and angrily and really making him feel terrible, saw that he never got angry back. They were, those people who are angry at you for no reason. They were those kind of people who would not let him eat, who would not let him sit, who would hurt him, because that was the orders they got. That be extra angry, be extra cruel, bring him to his knees. They saw that this man could not be humiliated. All he was doing is praying to Allah in the most gentle way possible. He wasn't even asking for them to be annihilated. He was asking for forgiveness for everyone. All those who were taking charge of his captivity began to pray behind him. And very famously, the story of the woman of ill repute who was put in the prison with the seventh Imam to misguide him. became a woman of piety and began to pray behind him and learned from him. She became a changed woman because of him. No one could tempt him. No one could trigger him. And Imam Qadim alayhi salam, he truly repaid evil with goodness. He repelled evil with goodness. And he put his enemies to shame. His age, just 55 years old. Didn't get to live very long in this world at all. He was an imam for 35 years, but the majority of that he spent in the prison of Harun Rashid. Curse be upon Harun Rashid. Remember, Harun Rashid is someone that is known as that king who brought the Muslim scientists, but he took credit for all the work that the imams have done. And Harun was the fifth caliph of the Abbasid dynasty, a very, very cruel dynasty. And Imam Musa Qadim alayhi salam, and we look at how he was holding back his anger. It's important to understand the historical context of where he was. He was living at a time when there was a huge struggle between the Umayyads and the Abbasids. His father, the sixth Imam, had been poisoned. The sixth Imam was silenced. The sixth Imam was brutally killed. Now, when it was time for him to be the Imam of the time, he was under the rulership of the most cruel, the most evil tyrants of his time. And he lived through at least, I believe about 3, 4, 5 evil kings of the time. He lived under Abul Abbas Safa. Look at the name. Abul Abbas Safa, the caliph of that time, what was his laqab? If Imam Qadim was the one who holds back his anger, Abul Abbas Safa, his name meant the shredder of blood. He was the first Abbasid caliph. He was shredding people, and the blood of the martyrs was actually the streets of Baghdad were filled with blood. And then after that, Mansur, a very, very, very evil king of that time. Then there was the 10 years of his son Mahdi, a very cruel tyrant. And after that, 1 and some months of Hadi. So after Mahdi, there was Hadi, and then there was the 12 years of Harun Rashid. So how many is that? We've got Abul Abbas Safa, Mansur, we've got Mahdi, we've got Hadi, and then you've got Harun Rashid. So that's 5 tyrants. And those 12 years of Harun Rashid was the most difficult ones for Imam, because he was in prison for 19 years. Imam Musa Qadim has the most beautiful hadith, which really touches the heart. He talks about not letting the opinions of others bother you. He says that if there's a pearl in your hand and it is closed, and people say that it's actually a walnut, it's not a pearl in your hand, that's a walnut. He says, this should not harm you, because you know that this is a pearl. And it makes us angry. We're like, I'm not like this. I'm very nice inside. I've got a pearl. I'm not nobody. I'm somebody. And we get so angry. Imam says, you know what you have. You know that you are wonderful inside. You know that you're good. You know that you're innocent. You know that you did not do anything to warrant this anger, this hurt, this cruelty. Therefore, let this give you peace. I know I'm a good person. I know what I have is good in my heart, right? Imam says to his companion, Hisham, "Oh Hisham, if there's a walnut in your hand and the people say it's a pearl, what they say doesn't provide you any benefit, because whether it's a walnut or not, what they say doesn't. What you have is what benefits you, and you know that you have a pearl." And he says, "Oh Hisham, patience upon isolation is the sign of mental powers." Now see, Imam was put in isolation. We find this that even now in the prisons, solitary confinement is what drives the prisoners crazy. Human beings need human beings. They need love. They need warmth. They need... They go crazy on an island, right? You need humans. You need life around you. So Imam says that if you want to show your mental powers, when you're isolated, whether physically isolated in prison like Imam was, or whether it was isolation from people who are your friends. Sometimes people leave us alone, right? They hurt us. They cast us out. The entire groups of people say, don't talk to this person. Don't invite them. Don't let them have powerful positions. Cancel them, right? Patience upon isolation. This is the sign of mental power, Hisham. And he says, whoever gets this wit and intellect from Allah, he withdraws from the people of the world. He withdraws. This is a sign of a mu'min that he doesn't even want to be with dunyawi people, those who are inclined to dunya and love dunya. He gets attached and inclined towards what lies with his Lord. A good person only loves what Allah loves. And in fact, he only loves Allah. And then he gives this beautiful explanation. And Allah cheers him up and puts him at ease in desolation and becomes his companion. If you're ever lonely, and there are so many people, who complain about loneliness. So many people whose spouses have passed away, whose children have left them, whose children are busy in their lives. What happens? They're in massive palaces. I recently saw a lady with a massive palace, all alone, because her husband had passed away, her children are all married. And it was scary just to see that. It's, as we say in Urdu, bhutya mahal. It becomes like, you feel like this palace, there's only like ghosts going around it. Like, you need human beings. But that person who finds solace with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Imam says Allah cheers him up and puts him in ease in desolation and becomes his companion. He doesn't feel alone. That person who needs a hug, who was accustomed to being held in their mother's arms or in their spouse's arms, or who was accustomed to holding their baby, that child is gone. Allah gives him cheer. Allah becomes his companion. And when people say to them, how do you make it? How do you survive? They smile. They say, Allah gave me peace. And then Imam says, Allah becomes the source of his wealth in poverty and adversity, and that of his honor and reverence, without his having a tribe. He doesn't have anyone, but yet he has honor and reverence. And there are countless stories. I wish I had time to talk about more about Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, because one of the tyrants once got a dream that a very scary person is about to whip them and is there with the sword, and he's saying, release Imam Musa Kadhim right now from jail. So this tyrant wakes up and he goes and he has Imam released immediately. Imam is standing at the door of the prison and he says, it took very long to get here. I thought you'd be here seconds ago. So he says, how did you know I was coming to release you? He said, I had a dream last night, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave me this dua. And this dua was that, recite this and you will be released from prison. So I recited this, and what happened? I saw that, the Prophet showed me that I would be released. And so I knew you were coming because I had recited this dua. This is the power of Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, that he was able to get, the tyrants to release him. I'm telling you, there are such amazing stories from his life. I wish I could have had more time. May Allah give me an opportunity to speak about this Imam again, Ilahi Ameen. May Allah give me life to keep praising the Imams and their lives, and to tell people as much as possible about them. Imam was very, very generous. He was known for his generosity. He one day set free 1,000 slaves. When you set free 1,000 slaves, that doesn't just mean you let them go. To be a free slave means that you've reinstated their name, and they have become, no one can enslave them again. It means you've bought their freedom. You've given them a home. You've given them sustenance. To release one slave required a person to be a multimillionaire. It was impossible to do so. Imam was able to set free 1,000 slaves in a go, and he used to help people in debt. And then there's that famous story in the short time that I have. And this is Ibn Shahr Ashub who has narrated this, that one day Mansur, the evil tyrant, summoned Imam alayhi salam, and it was the day of Nowruz, so everyone was there. And what he did was he brought gift upon gift upon gift, that the mountain of gifts was rising for Imam. And this was a way to show the people how powerful Mansur himself was. Let's see how powerful. You think this is your Imam? We're the ones giving him gifts. So this was the way to humiliate the Imam. Also, the reason these tyrants often used to do this is often it would make the people think, look how good we are. We love these Imams. You think we are evil to them? Look how nice we are. So it was to pretend. And also another way was also to give them so much wealth that they would also, Khuda na khasta, God forbid, become like these tyrants. They used to say, wait, you think we're bad? If we give them women and wine and lots of wealth, watch, they're going to become just like us. So this was the plan. So he gave so many gifts to Imam, and the mountain began rising of these gifts. Now, there was a person who was actually put in charge to write every gift that was coming. There's jewels, there was clothes, there was furniture, there was, you name it, it was there, right? Gold, coins, etc. And everything was being meticulously written down for the inventory. Now, everyone was really impressed that the Imam was being given all this. And see, this is the plan of Allah, that when you do something to humiliate somebody, the man of God, Allah changes that humiliation into victory. A very old man comes and he says to Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam, he says, "O son of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I don't have anything from this world to give to you. I don't have anything. But what I have is, I've written poetry. I've written just a few lines of elegy regarding Imam Hussein alayhi salam. I've written what we know in Urdu, Marthia, or what we know in Arabic, Latmiya, right? So when Imam said, this is the best gift, please recite it for me. Now, I want to take a moment here to talk about this, because yesterday I was watching the Majlis with my son, and when the Marthia came up, he said to me, "Mommy, is this allowed that we recite Marthia like this? I thought that music is not allowed in Islam. Isn't it haram to sing like this?" This is a valid question. And I said to him, I said, this is not singing. This is a poetry recited in a sad tone. That is absolutely allowed. And the Imams always used to call people to recite the praises of Imam Hussein and to recount the tragedy of Karbala. And in fact, we have instances where Imams have said, don't just say it like in a poetry way. Recite it in a sad way so that tears are evoked. 8th Imam has said this, 6th Imam has said this. They have stopped the poet and said, beautiful poetry, but now say it in a sad tone. Say it in a lilting voice so that it evokes the tears. And when the tears would come, Imam would give gifts to these people, because you have used your poetry to extol the virtues of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. You have done poetry to exalt the Imams. You have done poetry to narrate the tragic story of Karbala. So the man recited the verses. Imam was greatly affected. The 6th, 7th Imam began to cry. Now what he did was he told the man who was writing these gifts down, he said, could you go and ask Mansur, are these gifts really mine? What can I do with them? The king replied, I gave all these to you. You can do whatever you want with them. Enjoy, do whatever you want. So now that the 7th Imam knew that this is my gift, I can do with it whatever I want. Now, this is a very good example for us. When you give somebody a gift, it's their gift. They can do whatever they want with it. You can't force people, don't give that to anybody else. It's yours and only yours. You give a gift to someone, now it's theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. So Imam, then what happened is, went to the old man and he said, for the sake of all this Marthia that you have recited, and you've talked about Imam Hussein and the calamities and the sufferings of my grandfather, my Jad, Rasulullah Khuda sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You've talked about the agony of Fatima and Prophet when it came to the martyrdom of Hussein ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. What can I give you for that? This is priceless. So I give you these gifts. All these gifts that are here, I'm giving them so that you are free of poverty and hardships. This explains a lot. When we cry these tears, we cry these tears for Imam Hussein, and we cry for the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Think these tears, there is any value? Absolutely. Bibi Fatima alayhi salam takes these tears and uses this to extinguish the fire of hell for us. And when we use these tears to evoke sadness in someone's heart, for Bibi Sakina, for Imam Zamana, for Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, for Abbas, for Hussein, for Fatima, those gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, He makes us wealthy in this world and in the hereafter. Imam says, I'm giving you this so you never have poverty and hardship. This is how Allah repays us, when we work for Him, when we make others remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is why a Zakir, one who does dhikr of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, never underestimate their value. Always look at them with value and with respect. A lot of people, say, why do we give these reciters so much respect? We make them sit in the best place. We serve them the best of food. Aren't we giving them too much power? We're making them feel like they're, kings or something. The Imams, the example of what Imams did. But sincerity absolutely needs to be there. As long as that reciter is not doing this as a business, people are giving it to them and people are saying, your recitation is making us cry. And people are calling the Zakir. Then we need to respect the Zakir Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, for they have brought these tears that would have never come. Sometimes you want to cry. You want to, and nothing shakes the heart. But then there's some reciters, their majlis, their marthiyah, their latmiya makes the tears flow even if we don't try. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless those reciters. And before I ask for your leave, I want to read some of our comments. Sister Anjum Mukhi from Mumbai has sent her salam. Sister Fatima Chivalwala from Toronto says, wonderful examples to motivate us. Sister Zinat Ladak from Mumbai writes, you are an amazing orator, dear Zakira. The way you explain the lives of Imams, the way you teach us to say sorry is awesome. I really appreciate and admire your knowledge. You inspire and motivate us. And mashallah, many of our viewers from around the world are writing and watching. We have Sister Fatma Bharwani from London. She has written saying that she is watching. She's one of our regular viewers. Sister Shamim Hirji from Peterborough saying that truly a lovely program. Rehana Emercy from Toronto. Sister Fatma Bharwani saying, I'm watching you now. And she always sends me a picture of my TV program. Proof that she is watching. God bless her. Mashallah, so many lovely ladies. Zinat Mahmoud writing that I'm in Medina Munawara. I'm doing my Umrah and I'm praying for you, Sister Shyrose. Jazakallah khair. Sister Malihe Amersi. Sister Malihe Ilyas writes that she's going to Bibi Zainab, going to Damascus and Sham right now, leaving for the airport, and she's saying that I'm praying for you. Please pray for me. We're praying for you, dear sister. And mashallah, Sister Zarina Auntie Shivji from New York, Philadelphia, also writing that she is watching the program and sending her duas. In this holy nights of Rajab, tonight we are also commemorating Miraj. We ask our Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to pray for us tonight on this most holiest of nights. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to fast tomorrow, to also do any ibadat, any act of charity, any good thing that can inshallah give us Jannah which can help us have our sins forgiven, and for our akhirat to become beautiful, and for also here, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We pray for this. I pray for you all viewers. Thank you so much for watching. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. See you next week, right here on Friday, Hidayat TV. See you next week. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.